All right, get in your seats because we are about to begin, and I want to know, Emerald City Comic Con, how are my nerds doing? I like it. This is an especially kind of close to home type of panel because despite the Seattle-Portland rivalry that we hear about, this show is really much part of the identity just a couple hours away, and I'm excited to bring this gentleman out here. So are you guys all big fans of Grimm? As you should be. Has everybody seen the episode that aired last night? No. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is what we'll do. We'll kind of stay away from spoilery territory, except for one thing that I really will have to bring up, okay? But we'll kind of veer out of the spoilery territory. But with that said, you guys have smartphones. You have these basically computers in your hands. I want you to pop them out. I want you to tweet. I want you to Vine. I want you to Facebook. Use hashtag ECCC. Spread the love. Spread the conversation. Make your friends at home know this is what they're missing out on when they're not at Emerald City Comic Con. And also, you guys better have some questions because we have a microphone back there and it's going to be very lonely if you don't get back there and ask some questions. So get back there, keep it to one question per person. Let's avoid any personal requests. And as I've said before, look, I love you, Seattle, but don't get weird on me, okay? Don't get too weird, okay?
Weirder than Portland.
Okay, you're weirder than Portland? Okay, well, we'll see. Do you want to do it? You want to come out? You're just hanging out here? All right. Of course you know him from Capricorn, Warehouse 13. Graham, give it up for Sasha, Roiz.
Up here. Thank you, everybody. This is such a beautiful reception.
There's like stagecraft involved in the intro. You gotta lay the groundwork. You gotta get out there.
Oh, come on already. I just want to get on. Just want to meet these people.
Well, first off, two things. Yeah. Congratulations on episode 100. And also, as we found out last week, renewed for another season.
Fantastic, isn't it?
So all you Grimsters, you're going to have a lot more to look ahead to. But, you know, you kind of celebrated 100 episodes in an interesting way through the work of your own charity, right? The Grimster Endowment.
Oh, yeah. That was really special. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I probably blasted everybody on social media nonstop for about a month. But we have an endowment at the Children's Hospital in Portland, and a lot of you guys were really supportive, so thank you for that. But we had this whole global movement. People were donating money from really every part of the globe, and we raised $400,000 for the endowment of the hospital this year, and $300,000 last year. We're doing another one next year, so we're going to surpass $1 million with your help and with the community in Portland, and leave a huge, wonderful endowment at the Children's Hospital there. So that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Yeah, as we were talking about on the way over here, and Grimm is really a show that it doesn't happen with all shows, and it's kind of interesting to watch. It really is part of Portland. It is really part of the identity of the town, correct?
Yeah, Silas is fond of saying, trees make the best trees. And meaning that it's filming in Portland, it's a part of the show, it's a character in the show. We don't build these sets, we don't fake it. We are in the woods at night, in the rain. And it looks amazing. Yeah. Trees make great trees. He's so wise.
So wise. That's
he reads
Silas.
Books and stuff.
Books?
Yeah.
With pages?
Made from trees, by the way.
I know, yeah. Irony. When was the first time you sort of noticed that the town had really embraced you guys as a production?
Right from the get-go. That is a great city. You mentioned, is there really a rivalry between Seattle and Portland?
Yes!
I think you guys won. I don't know if anyone alerted you. It's like Portland's this big compared to you guys, but it's a wonderful city. I love that city, and although they did beat you for soccer, did they not? They kind of took the. I'm just saying.
And that's when the crowd turned against Sasha.
These are facts. I'm not choosing sides, although I go to a lot of Timbers games. No, Portland's been great, and the whole Pacific Northwest has been great because I feel like Seattle is a part of it too. It's always amazing. We have so many fans come down from Seattle and invite us. I've been invited to this particular con many, many times, and you could really feel the love for their show up here as well. And because I think it just represents the Pacific Northwest, and we're really proud to do that. And it's it's a different landscape, it's a different temperament, and we're really happy to represent it as we do. And I think I think they do a great job. And the city has just been celebrating us from the get-go. Like we had for our 100th episode, we had the governor show up and the mayor and all these representatives, and they named the street after us where our stages are. It's Grimm Way now. Isn't that cool?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we've been really like a fixture in that city now.
And, we have a question over there. Hi, do you have a question?
Are we starting questions already?
If somebody wants a question. Yeah. Okay, you're not. All right. All right, if you have a question, someone will help you with the mic. Okay. But, it's... What do you attribute the longevity of Grimm, making it this far so far?
Because fans. It's always about fans. It's always like, if you guys keep watching, we keep making it. It's that simple. And somehow we got lucky, and the second we launched, there was a fan base waiting for that show, and they've stuck with us. So thank you. That's the only reason we're on the air.
Yeah, most certainly. Especially because we're in an environment where the full episode order of 22 episodes, it's becoming like less and less regular.
Yeah, it's really going quickly. Like it's going the way of the dinosaur. Like in a few years, that'll be done.
Yeah,
it'll be just what you know now as the cable and the streaming content, which will be 10, 13 episodes, maybe less, maybe a little more, but 22. And that's really a tribute to our writers, because it's so hard to write 22 episodes a season, and especially when you don't have full liberty, right? You still have to pass it through the networks and the studios and production. So like there's so many hands involved, and for them to churn out 22 episodes a season, and for the most part pretty good, then it's really a testament to their hard work.
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I did a photo op with you earlier
I recall,
today.
yes.
And said I've loved your work on Caprica,
Thank you.
well as your work on Grimm.
Thank you.
And you are indeed very scenic. Congratulations on having cheekbones you can cut diamonds on.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
So my question is, several of the folks from the Grimm cast have appeared on Portlandia, and Silas's appearance was hysterically funny.
That was a great sketch.
Oh.
I'm a Portlandia fan.
Yeah. And are you going to appear on Portlandia?
It's so funny that you say that, because I am a big fan of that show, and I've been petitioning to get on that show for a while.
And they haven't taken you up on it?
I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I think that this is going to be my pitch. Should I win, the mayoral race? There's a chance I might. And that would be my pitch. I was like, how about the guy who plays the mayor on that show plays the mayor on the thing, and this crazy meta thing just happens, and we blow everybody's minds.
Yeah, that's like a mind-blowing meta crossover.
What show is this? Where are we?
And yet it would work. That's the thing. Is like, I believe that there are Vesson in Portlandia.
So exactly.
It's
so
most
Fred
certainly.
Armisen, if you're watching, and I know you are.
Streaming right now, yeah. Actually, yeah. I mean, another comedy that you appeared on was "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia," correct?
I love that.
Yeah, and there is like this sort of crossover with a couple people involved in those shows, right? Like David knows one of the creators on it, right? How did that come about?
I can't remember all. There is something that I'm forgetting, but I think you're right. There's some sort of crossover stuff, and they do these cons as well. They're like massive cult favorites. I mean, cult's not even the word anymore for those guys, but I was a huge fan of that show, and it's kind of rare that you actually get to audition and work on a show that you're a viewer of, and there's something really surreal in that, because you're like, no, I'm going to ruin it for myself now. I don't want to see me in this thing, because I love this, and now I'm going to ruin it for me. But it was so much fun, because I watched all those seasons leading up to the season I was on, and it was honest to God, I've reached so many comedy scripts, and Yeah, they're not that funny. And this one though, when I read it, I was bursting out loud laughing. Like they actually write it that funny. They're great guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
I know you said no personal requests. I just have to real quick because I promised my mom. She would like to know if you could take your shirt off and speak Russian more often on the show. That was it. That was
That's
her.
it.
So,
Just like-
so it's like no special request except for the ultimate special request.
Yeah, exactly.
She texts me every Saturday morning to say if you took your shirt off the night before or not. So
First of all, kudos to your mom.
Thanks for watching, Mom.
Secondly, I don't know what it is or what I'm doing, but I have the mom demographic down.
you absolutely.
Like, I bet you I've signed about at least for half of you today. This is for my mom. I'm like, what is going on around here? Like, and it's just, yeah, I'm
Well, it
grateful.
segues to my question is,
Yeah.
I see a lot of parallels between your character and Skinner on the X-Files,
Okay.
where in the beginning of X-Files, you didn't know which side he was on,
Sure.
and you thought he might be bad because
Right.
he seemed to be, and so I think that was part of it too, because Skinner would occasionally take his shirt off, and that was a big thing for that crowd. So do you see any
4
of those?
years of theater school, and just ripping off my clothes and just, anyway.
Do you see any parallels? I see a lot of parallels, I think, sometimes between the X-Files and Grimm.
Yeah,
With the
I mean,
monster
sure.
aspect and the cop, the FBI.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of that, or
I mean, I see it also
Not copying,
no, not at all. But I see it in a lot of different shows. You know, I mean, there's aspects of our show that are probably we've been influenced by. I think a variety of shows that you could probably point to. But yeah, and you know, there's always that kind of character. I think it's an archetype in some ways. You know, and I don't know about the shirtless part, but definitely the morally ambiguous part. Like, there's always that character, and I love playing those guys. I think they're far more interesting.
Well, you know, when you're dealing with, again, like such a large episode order, you don't always necessarily, with some shows, have the whole arc laid out for you. I'm sure you guys have a plan and everything now.
No,
but
we don't.
No? Just like winging it.
I have no idea.
We're actually writing scripts for the next episode.
I'm
up
not
here.
being facetious. It's like, again, 22 episodes.
Yeah.
You cannot ask them to tell you where they're going to go. They have no idea, and they have very little downtime, right? I mean, we just wrapped last week. They're probably going to be back at work in a week.
Yeah.
And then it needs approval, and then it needs, you know, so things change. Sometimes they have to scrap a script, like NBC might not like it, and they have to go a different direction. So we really don't know, and they don't know. It's kind of an organic thing, and then something starts to work, and it just kind of starts to steamroll towards the finish, you know. But we don't know.
What was the basic building blocks for Renard when you first joined the show, that you knew, okay, I have to build a character on these things without necessarily having an entire arc?
Well, the interesting thing about Renard is that they didn't know what they wanted exactly, and he was probably and continues to be one of the only characters that is constantly developing as the show goes on, because you know, Nick's the Grim, and Silas is the Blutbaden, and then Hank is Hank, and Woo is Woo, and okay, and so Juliet, that's a little convoluted, but you know, but generally people knew who they were and what their characters were. This is how like unbaked sort of Renard was. In the pilot, he had a British accent, and then we did away with that. And then, thank God. And then I said, oh, you know, I speak a few languages. And they're like, okay, maybe we'll use that. Sure enough, we did. And then they said, we have some, you know, ideas for you. You're going to be a royal descendant. Okay, we kept that.
Okay.
You're going to have a daughter. Scrap that.
Yeah.
If you notice, there's early episodes, an episode like in season 1 where in Renard's apartment, there's pictures of him and his daughter all over the wall behind him, like really prominently featured. Like, we had to do a whole photo shoot with this awkward girl who was like, why, what do we, and like, it was like in 3 different ages as well, and it was like, my daughter, you know, like, and they're all over the wall. Cut to like later in the season, they're all gone.
Yeah.
You know? There's a wedding ring, right? Everyone's always asking about the wedding ring. Well, because that was a throwback to, they thought he was going to be a widower. And then I didn't even know at all until first episode of season 2 that he was Vesson. No idea. And guess who else didn't know? The writers.
Yeah.
So, and it continues, and then all of a sudden it's like, and you have a family. I do, and this is your mom. I have a mom, and this is your brother, and this is your other brother, and this is your cousin. You killed that guy. And I was like, what is going on? Like, So all this stuff continued to be layered. And so I kind of realized, okay, the only approach to this is to not overcommit to anything, because just keep it vague, you know? So, because you don't know what they're bringing. And and I love it, but it continues to be the case. That's interesting.
Well, the performance has always conveyed a guy that appears ahead of the curve.
Right.
And I'm wondering, especially now, maybe, avoiding too much spoiler territory, but even now, do you think that he's a guy still ahead of the curve, or he just is a guy that's trying to look ahead of the curve?
Both.
Yeah?
Definitely, yeah. I like that he generally is a little bit ahead of all the other players. There are times when he's not necessarily, but he's not going to give that away.
Right.
Like, he keeps the cards close to the vest, He's not going to let anyone in on what he knows and doesn't know, and he's always kind of like piecing it together. And I think that's what makes him interesting, because you're always wondering, what is this guy about? Like, what is he coming, So he's always scheming, and he's always positioning. And, it's kind of fun, because oftentimes I don't know, as the actor, what's gonna surface, but I know that Renard would. You know what I mean? Like, I know that in 5 episodes they'll reveal to me what they've been scheming, so I just have to play it like, oh, I know. Oh, I know. I have no idea, but I know. So there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah. So when he gets like another, I don't know, relative or a cousin Oliver or whatever, you just have to be like, saw this coming.
Hello, Oliver. Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. So I've actually just been catching up as much as I can on the show, thoroughly enjoying your character arc, just how much he progresses, and that is he bad, is he good? He's so well-rounded. If there was a character that we could watch like a spin-off of, I'd watch Renard.
Can you please pitch it to our producers?
Yeah.
Well, so my question is, it was really cool to find out he was half Zauber beast. If you could have been a different Vesson, or he had that choice, or do you just have a favorite Vesson that isn't? I'd like to know that.
There's so many, and I can't pronounce any of them. I really can't. Silas is the only one who can pronounce all these names. But I like all the beasts, like the Hexen beast, Zauber beast. I like that kind of sexy, magical, incestuous, maniacal, diabolical kind of like, I find them fascinating, and they're very different from the other creatures. They've got this magical component, and they've got this kind of sexiness to them as well that I kind of dig. In fact, there's going to be a full-blown Zauber beast coming up this season. You're going to see how powerful they are. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Speaking of sexy and magical, I wanna bring up something.
How do you segue into that?
How do we segue into that? And yet I'm prepared because I want to bring this up. Again, it's somewhat spoilery in nature, but it was last night's episode. We probably can't zoom in, but kind of break this down, because this was pretty awkward and pretty comical. Great scene that played out last night. Talk about it, and just sort of the joy, the fun of pulling that off, being Eve as Renard.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys see last night's episode? I mean, Eve turns into Renard.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it last week, right? Okay, so let's leave it at that. But anyway, it lends itself to some comical situation. But that's what I love about our writers. Like, you never know what they're going to come up with, and they're not afraid of making us look goofy, foolish, funny, pushing our limits a little bit. Like, all of a sudden, I had to learn how to be Eve, and it was fun. It was like really fun. I think it came out pretty well, but it was a strangely awkward scenario where you're like, are we really doing this? This feels kind of like a bit of a send-up, but it worked. It was actually really worked well in the situation. So I enjoyed it. It was a nice departure for Renard.
Yeah. And that scene itself, that image, is so meme-worthy. Like,
So
I hope the fans out there.
Yeah.
Internet do
It's
something
a wonderfully
with that.
awkward moment where he's holding his blanket up above his. It's great. It's nice to see him awkward.
And that must be fun to play.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello. Actually, I was gonna ask about other awkward kind of situations. I'm actually a new fan too, so I've only seen through like season 2. But I always wonder in the scenes where the actors are by themselves. So when you're supposed to revive Juliet and you take that like potion thing, and you're like, "No, I got this, bro."
Oh, right,
and
right,
you're
right.
like, "Yeah, cool." And you walk into your apartment, and then you're suddenly just like, "Ugh." Whatever. Like I always
She
feel
got
like
it down.
Good job,
She
yeah.
got it down. Yeah. That was
On the
it. It was like
nose,
watching me. It was like watching myself. So
could you like speak to that? Because I always feel like that'd be super awkward with all the set people around and like, okay, just flop around, look really dramatic,
Oh.
look like you're in pain.
I mean, maybe like season 1, 2, you're like, oh, it's a little awkward. Now I'm like, what do you need me to do? All right. Because it's whatever. It's like, you know, we're so comfortable in that. Like season 1 would be like a little bit of modesty, like I have to get naked. But like, can we like have a close set, please? And can everybody? And now it's like just walking around with like a milkshake in my underwear, like, hey, what are we going up? All right. You know, it's just you don't care. You don't care. Like Bitsy and I had that scene actually, you know, where she turns into me and stuff, and we were both naked for it, pretty much. And we're just like, it was actually quite funny. We were like just waiting in the wings. We were both doing push-ups together, naked, like pretty much. You just had this ridiculous loincloth and I had something, and you just don't care. Like now we're at the point where it's family. We've done this so many times, but it was a little awkward in the beginning too, you know. And what I do like though is like they put me, I think more than any other character, through some real painful, physical moments. Like, I don't think anyone's suffered as much as Renard. Like, the bullets and the this and the possession and the potions and the I mean, like, some awful stuff that they put him through. So it's kind of fun to physicalize all that because that just requires, you know, creating something visceral. And whereas oftentimes he's so in control, so it's nice to kind of completely lose control physically with this character. So I enjoy that stuff.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's curious that the character is likely going to become a mayor because is it true that you were called the mayor by the cast early on?
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that was my nickname. Like in the first couple of seasons, they used to call me the mayor because I was so into being in Portland and I knew like all the places to eat and all the places to hang out, and so they would send anybody with any questions to me for a list of places to hang out. And I was called the mayor. And now the running gag is, you really should run for mayor. And I was like, that would be amazing. The guy who played the mayor is now actually the mayor. Oh my God, boom.
It's all coming together.
Yeah.
It's like this, Portlandia,
I
and
know.
then real office.
I know, right?
Hi there.
Hi. I waved a photo.
I have your photo, by the way, in my back pocket.
Well, this is another one
Okay.
from somebody else altogether, and it's a picture of you eating breakfast.
Yes, I do that occasionally.
And another comment from somebody else who was reviewing these pictures that wanted to know what it was you were eating.
Uh-huh.
And it says, well, it looks like it's yellow, could be pasta, could be eggs. I said, well, I'll be there on Saturday, I'll ask. So I'm asking.
You know, I do a lot of panels. And
Really?
I can honestly say this is the first
This is
time.
maybe...
Yeah.
I got this. If I recall, I was eating a vegetable egg scramble with 2 veggie patties, and there may have been some avocado involved. That's amazing.
The internet demands to know. I love it, though. I love that
There's
question.
one person out there in the world who's so relieved right now. So, thank God, I thought it was pasta.
Hi there.
Hi. So what was your favorite moment in Grimm?
Oh boy,
Ooh.
my favorite moment. Well, recently it was getting picked up for another season. My favorite moment, you know, like there's a few, like it's every time they make the story for the character more rich and more elaborate. Like when they made him, you know, like it started with the coins as a Kinthos, you started to see another side to him, and then when he was under the potion with Juliet, you saw this whole other side to him, and then all of a sudden they started to bring in the royal family and all the his backstory. So every time they kind of layer and make Renard's story a little bit more dynamic and intricate and layered, that's when I really kind of have a great time. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Very good question. Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to let you know I love your show. Me and my mom both do. Yes, I had to say it.
Hashtag Mom Squad.
But I also loved your transformation into the whole purity thing. That was probably my peak of how much I loved your character.
Which one?
You had to kiss, you had to go through that purity transformation.
Oh, yes.
I felt so bad for him, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could help him, you know.
Oh, you and your mom.
Mainly me, but. So my question was, since the whole Grim Way Street has been a recent thing, are you guys gonna have like a cameo of that scene in the background in the future season?
Of the actual street sign?
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I don't know if they posted the sign yet or not, but that'd be really cool if we do. I'm sure.
Or you should just mention it, because I'd love to see that. I love cameos.
I know. I'm sure it'll be featured in some sort of, extra B-reel footage kind of on a DVD possibly. But our writers are pretty cheeky that way, aren't they? Like when they end every episode, every season with what do you like with the cliffhangers that they do, and there's like, you knew it was coming. Like they get kind of cheeky. They'll probably do stuff like that. They kind of like having fun.
Right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, I suppose likewise you could bring in someone from Portlandia to do
Yeah.
some sort of background cameo, just Armisen
I know,
in
right?
the background.
I'd love that.
Hi.
Hi. Firstly, I watched the first 3 seasons on Netflix.
Is it Sarah, by the way?
Yeah.
From New Zealand?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know how people get by
I don't know.
watching it all week by week because
Yeah.
it's just terrible. My question is, you mentioned before that you had the photos of Sean's daughter on the wall.
Yeah.
And I have noticed that there have been a couple of things where they've changed part of the storyline. As actors, like, do you have any say when you notice things like that? Like, one example would be when Juliet lost her memory of Nick, he was sleeping on the couch, yet suddenly they had a spare room for trouble.
That's a good point.
So, do you guys
Please
speak
don't pay
up
that
when
much
you notice
attention.
something like that?
Because you will ruin it for
Yeah.
you. There are so many inconsistencies with, and not just our show, any show that's this long-lived, and because things morph and change, and again, like you, oftentimes the writers are going down a path, and then all of a sudden, either the story is not working out, or the network's not particularly happy with it, or you lose an actor. Like, for instance, when I blew up my cousin, my brother, what was my brother's name? Eric. James Frayne, great actor, right? I blew him up because James got another gig. That's how it works. Like if an actor who was a recurring on any show dies, they got another job.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So things like that occur, and then you got to kind of redirect, and you can't always be very consistent. But yes, they built a little spare room between those episodes, I believe.
I mean, personally, I would love it if just like a new addition appeared on my house overnight, But I think that also speaks to the strength of fandom and having a show that people love and pay that much attention to.
It's
It's
great.
like it's the William Shatner Star Trek, problem of when this happened, what did that mean? But suspension of disbelief.
And it's especially difficult when you have such a large order. It really is difficult. There's, again, very few shows that have to do that, and it's a lot to fulfill.
Yeah. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was wondering, since so many of your relatives are dead, the king is dead, your brother is gone, your cousin is gone, does that make you next in line? Because being king would be way cooler than
The mayor of Portland? you noticed that, did you? Yeah, I think I brought that up at one meeting, but I think there was a note about maybe departing from the royal storyline for a little while, so I think that's why we kind of...
I know they're kind of busy with Nick and the keys and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool.
I liked some of the royal stuff, but I think it got, I think they exhausted it at one point, and they wanted to kind of changed the storyline a little bit. But you're technically correct. And I hope they get back to it, because you're right. King versus Mayor of Portland? I'll take King, please. Yeah.
Better
I
perks.
have one more question.
Sure.
So in an interview, you mentioned that you have been putting off having a family for a while. So does that mean
Me
you're
or
looking for
Renard?
a wife? You.
Me personally.
Yes.
Yeah, the parallels continue.
I know, yeah. Is this about to get weird?
I'm sorry.
What kind of characteristics in a wife are you looking for?
Yeah, it got weird.
Oh, boy. I'm just going to direct you to my Tinder profile. Please don't swipe left.
Moving on. Hi there.
Hi, thank you for coming to Emerald City. We know there's lots of cons to go to, so thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. Seriously, great. This is only my 4th con, so I'm still new to this, and this is a fantastic one.
So we're glad that you filmed in Portland. You have excellent writers, excellent story. We're glad that you got picked up for another season. As fans, other than watching the show live, tweeting about it, posting on Facebook, coming to cons, what's another way as a fan that we can kind of really support the show and continue the fandom and franchise?
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, the most important thing is always viewership. You know, networks look, if you're talking about longevity of the show, yeah, the best way to support a show is to watch. And, you know, they're changing a little bit from, like, it used to be all about, are they watching the moment it's airing live? That was it. Now the system, the Nielsen system, is changing a little bit, and they're really paying a lot of attention to DVR. So if you're watching within 3 days or 7 days, that counts for a lot too. So the best way to do it is to make sure that you watch, and make sure the people around you watch, and they watch like in a timely fashion, because, you know, if you're just kind of binge watching it, which we appreciate, then it doesn't really count towards our ratings, and that's really all that it boils down to. You know, that's kind of what it's still about. But we also appreciate moral support, like all that stuff doesn't go, you know, without notice. I mean, we love that, and we think we have an amazing fan base. Like, we're really grateful for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the whole like Live +3, Live +7. You know, it's interesting too, because Caprica was a good show that had ratings issues, but it was also before the big Netflix and Hulu boom. Do you ever kind of look back on that project and say, if this came out now, it would be a different thing?
The ratings of that show now, networks would love to have those ratings. They actually weren't bad. It was just, you know, they didn't at that. Did you guys watch Caprica? It was a pretty good show, I thought. I mean, I really loved playing Sam Adama. I loved that world, and I was really heartbroken when it ended, because I thought it was premature. They were just getting the momentum. They were just kind of like finding their feet, and you know, it was right at that point when the rating system didn't quite change. They didn't take into account DVRs. They didn't take into account streaming or any of the stuff that, you know, people in the sci-fi world are the most tech savvy. They're going to watch in different mediums. They're not going to watch live, and so that stuff wasn't accounted, and that's why that show, you know, tragically was cut short. But today, those ratings, it'd be great. It'd be on for a while.
The days of you know, getting 20 million viewers for a show, it's basically past.
Pretty
you know,
much, yeah.
So it's a different thing. Do you see like a major paradigm shift in how major networks are going to kind of perform with these episodic television?
Like I said, those 22 orders are going to disappear very soon. Yeah. I mean, I think CBS will be the last one holding on, and even they'll have to change it. And then, you know, I think that it's going to be basically what you see now, like on cable. It's going to be 10, 13 orders. It's going to be miniseries, like things like that, or content for their live streaming platforms. But yeah, it's all going to change drastically. And I think ultimately they're going to have to accept and find a new system, because no one's watching things live anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's sports or something, like you watch it when you want to watch it. And so we're going to have to account for that.
Hi there.
Hello. First of all, I wanted to say that my mom is a big fan, and so is my dad.
All right.
All right. Let's get the dads in here.
Yeah.
Could use that demo.
And my question is actually something you mentioned before about the languages you speak. I
Yeah.
was just curious as to which languages you speak and your fluency level. I mean, is it really fluent, or is it more on the order of how to get a beer and where's the bathroom?
Do you need more in life, really?
Yeah. English, relatively fluent. French, pretty strong. Like quite very comfortable speaking French because I grew up in Montreal and I had to go to school in both English and French, so that I actually feel quite comfortable. Russian I learned around the house, so it's pretty like poor, but I understand very well, but I just like, blunder everything up, but like I speak very comfortably. Like if they give me a dialogue, it's very simple for me and I understand it all. I just never learned it properly, or academically I should say. It just spoke around the house. So I understand it, but it's probably the weakest of the three. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello, Sasha. Thanks
Hey.
for coming.
Absolutely.
My question is, when you were doing the episode that you were Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Now, how did you feel when you had to do that sort of? Your accent for me was sort of like one of those sailor type.
Yeah.
British.
Yeah, we didn't want to do Cockney because it was obvious, and I had this dialect coach, and we were trying to find. See, the hardest part of that thing was I had to mask my voice, because all you heard was him on the phone for the first couple of episodes. So just putting an accent is not going to mask your voice. You had to change the timbre of your voice and the way you speak. So I was trying to find that more than the accent, because once you'll see me, then it doesn't matter, The gig is up. So the jig is up, I should say. Oh my God! So it was all about like trying to find a voice that the audience wouldn't recognize as mine, and then coupling that with some dialect. But we were trying to figure out like something unique. Well, maybe we hit it, maybe we didn't. I don't know. It was fun.
And then the one thing, how are you with the episode? The part of the episode that you're bleeding in the mirror and you had to
punch the mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that actually just a effect, or did you actually?
No, there was a breakaway mirror. And it was just, I don't think they planned for it, but it happened, and I think it was like a good moment, and then we're like, oh yeah, let's do that again. But it was, I kind of enjoyed the torment they put him through last season. I mean, it went on for a while. Let's be honest, they just wanted to get my shirt off, but like, I mean,
Gotta appeal to the mom demo.
It was like, again, oh boy, But yeah, that was a nice moment, and then those claws came out of
Yeah, that to me, I think that that's cementified that the Renard character is all complex.
Yeah, I think they wanted to just tie in the fact that he had died and he was on the other side, and something was coming back for him from the other side. So he was being haunted and possessed. So they knew that. They just tied in I think that's how they work. They're like, okay, we know we want to do something with possession, this and that. How do we tie it into our grim mythology? And then they say, oh, how about the Jack the Ripper storyline? And and it possesses him, and so that's kind of how they work, which is really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Thank you for that episode, and you've been great on Grim.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I was really hoping you were going to say you just went method and started punching real mirrors,
exactly.
not breakaway glass. Just
Bring me another one!
Hi there.
Hi. So the writers of Grimm are amazing, and I love them, but they're
great.
also real jerks because they do so many cliffhangers, and they do them wonderfully.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had a favorite cliffhanger.
I love. You're right. It's very frustrating. But then, would you really want what are you gonna do? Like Nick's gonna sit at the park and he's eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
It's not a nice day.
It's like not fun when everyone's happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
It would be worst cliffhanger ever. Is he gonna finish the sandwich?
Next week on Grimm.
I said they were wonderful. They do the cliffhangers.
I said no crust.
They do it really well. I loved, God, which one was it? Where there was the one where his mom showed up, and that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end, he goes, "Mom," and that was great. And there was, I think, the one where Well, then he finds her head in the box. That was great. Oh, by the way, she got a job. Seriously, she did. It was like, oh, head in the box. Yeah, I think they do wonderful, especially like I find that they do their last episodes. There's always kind of a coupling. It's always 21 and 22 are fantastic, and they're always action-packed. And I always love reading them. They're always my favorite because they read at such a pace, and they're performed and produced at such a pace. And you know, one of the things is Norberto Barba, who was our producing director for the last 5 years. He just wrapped his run this year. In fact, he just finished the last episode for us because he's moving on. He was just a genius at getting that pace to a breakneck speed. You know, and it was just like. Things were happening, every character's in peril, everything's in danger, what's going to happen, and I love some of the stuff they come up with, and this year's no exception. This last episode of season 5 is fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What kind of, if you were to speculate, I mean, you know, but if you were to speculate, what kind of mayor would Renard be?
Horrible.
Yeah, like, I don't imagine him spending a lot of time.
Well dressed, tailored,
yeah,
but
like,
horrible. Let's be honest.
Would he be a policy guy? Like, what would he be focusing on? What are his main issues?
I mean, really, we're going to talk policy now. He's going to make Portland great again.
And that's really all I needed too. So,
yeah, there we go.
Hi.
Hi. I know that when you guys vote, they use a lot of CG, but I'm assuming that for the longer scenes, you use prosthetics?
Yes.
And I was wondering how long it takes for your prosthetics.
Thankfully, I never have put on prosthetics. And I think the only person who did is maybe Silas one time, like in the pilot or something like that. It takes 3 to 5 hours depending on the creature, and it takes forever. It's really costly and time consuming, and we don't have that kind of time. And so the only people who are burdened with that are the stunt people, because they have to do big wide shots where we can't, you know, and they're running around and tumbling and moving, and we just can't do CGI on them properly. So they're the ones who have to wear the masks and, you know, the gloves and everything, and they sit in that chair for us, thankfully. But I've never had to. We just do this thing where we put dots on our face, and then the CGI team just kind of follows that and creates, you know, the whole image. But I hate makeup. I hate it so much. So I'm so glad I never had to do it, because I can't sit still for 3 hours. I mean, if you look at me now, even I'm like all fidgety and stuff. But 3 hours of sitting still like that, oof. But they do such a great job. Barney Barnum is our special effects head of special effects. He's won Oscars before. Like, he's a tremendous talent. And I swear to God, even after 5 years, I walk around set and I see these guys walking around all done up after Barney's done with them, and it's unbelievable. Like, just on Wednesday, we had this huge epic sort of scene that it was like one of the last days, and there were so many creatures involved, and I was just walking around stopping guys going, let me see that. Oh my God, that's unbelievable. Like, it's really that impressive. He does a great job.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I am a mom.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi there. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Hi.
What's your question?
If you could be any other character in Grimm, who would you like to be?
Monroe. Yeah. I mean, I you know, I would never do it justice because Silas is fantastic in that role, but I did audition for that role before we got going. Believe it or not, before they got Silas, they were putting, you know, I actually read for Monroe, but he's so good in it. But he looks so comfy in those cardigans, you know, and he gets all the best punchlines. I would do that. Nice question. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, if they ever release the audition reel for
I
that.
mean, yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would we expect from you? What would we see? Like, what kind of sides were you reading from, or do you remember what kind of performance you tried to bring for Monroe?
Oh, for Monroe?
Yeah.
I think my approach was a little bit more kind of like, you know, snarky and kind of cool and totally ineffective. Clearly. But they brought me back in for this guy, so something must have worked.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's out there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm
sooner or
sure.
later,
I'm
they're-
sure it'll
they're going
surface
to-
at some point. Yeah.
they're going to
I also auditioned for Juliet. Nailed it.
Well, guys, if does anybody else have any other questions, or if not, I'm gonna let this guy go. Okay, hi. Or maybe not. Maybe we do.
Sorry, I have a terrible memory, so I don't know if this has been answered in the show or not. But,
Uh-huh.
for the Royals, I don't recall if any of them are Vesson, or if it's just you because you're the half. You know,
I think it was just me.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it was just me. My mom is a Hexen beast, but she's not royal. But the royals
Right.
are pure, and that's why I think that he has the burden that he has because he's the only bastard son. So,
Okay.
yeah,
So they're
which-
humans in a world that does not have royalty in.
Yeah, I think the whole kind of concept of the royals was they ruled over the Vesson to some extent, or they at least controlled them by means of having grims and so on.
Okay, cool.
Kind of looking at your career, how do you think working in genre has made you a better actor?
Well, I didn't know much about genre. I didn't grow up with that. Like, I wasn't really a genre fan, so it wasn't, and nor do you really need to be. It doesn't really matter. Just story, characters are characters. I mean, you just create the worlds, and you believe in these worlds, and that's all that is, really. But I think it made me certainly a lot more creative. Because the things that I've had to imagine and circumstances and creatures and worlds and conversations even, they're so out there. And, I think if you don't have a very malleable imagination, I don't think you could function in this world as an actor for very long because you have to accept any circumstance and situation they put you in and just accept it as this is true and real and I'm going to completely commit to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Hello.
Hi. As a mayor of Portland, what are some restaurants you recommend?
Actually, I like this question. Yeah.
Seriously, do you know Portland, or are you planning on going?
No, I'm from here.
I have a huge list. I'd be happy to share it with you. I actually do. I have it's on my phone. And basically, every time a guest star comes, to send them my little list, which is not so little, by the way, and yeah, I just basically kind of, go, this is where you eat, this is where you walk, this is where you drink, this is where you get an ice cream, this is where you don't get an ice cream, this is where, all that kind of. So, I mean, I'm happy to share a few places with you after, if you like to know.
It seems like something that should be up on the Grimm website,
should be.
Sasha's list of go-to places
It's
in
true,
Portland,
right? Yeah. The mayor's recommendations. But I think that, honestly, if you guys spend time in Portland, I mean, that is a foodie town. Holy cow. I mean, you know how hard it is to stay lean there? There's pork belly in everything. Yeah. In the water, it's just everywhere. Just, fucking pork belly. It's just every time shirtless scenes, I'm like, just eating salads. But it's an amazing town full of incredible chefs and a culinary scene that's unsurpassed, I think. Yeah.
Well, and it's also because the show is so connected to Portland. Have you been noticing sort of the fan mission showing up there, like people visiting Portland because of Grimm?
Huge. I mean, I've seen everything from people from overseas who are visiting on tours, and there's now Grimm tours in the city and so on. And there's people from way Far East Asia. I've seen people show up and they're just standing on set, and I'm like, "Where are you guys from?" I'm like, "Oh, Taiwan. We just came here for the show. We heard about the show, and then we'll go up to Vancouver and see the guys from Supernatural." So it's become a huge sort of tourist attraction. And then I've met so many people who moved there because of the show. Because they say it's so beautiful. We came for a visit and just never left. And it's kind of amazing, really, what we've done for tourism and
and real estate,
the economy
apparently.
and real estate. Yeah,
you should get a cut of
every. I've seen it firsthand. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hello. Did you ever do any Shakespeare?
I did. I started in theater school. I started in theater, so I did quite a bit of theater at the beginning of my career, and I try to maintain it, but unsuccessfully because this stuff takes up so much time. But last year, Silas and I did a play in Portland. In fact, I think I met a few people here who went to see it. We did 3 months. It wasn't a Shakespeare, mind you, but we did a play at Portland Center Stage in between season 4 and 5, and we had such a great time because we love working together. We don't work together enough. We both come from stage, and we had the greatest time. So it was fun.
Mm-hmm. As a viewer, as a consumer of entertainment, how do you unwind after you're shooting? What are you watching? What are you pulling in to kind of separate yourself from the show a little bit?
I feel like I have such a hard time. I'm sure I'm not alone. Like committing to any show, I'm watching like 15 shows at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just pull out my iPad and I'm just like watching. Like everything, like Hulu, Amazon, HBO, Showtime, NBC, Comedy Central. I'm like just all over the place. So I'm kind of erratic. I just need to watch something at the end of the day, unwind. And it depends on my mood, you know. Like if I just need to kind of chill out, I'll watch a comedy. If I'm really into, there's a few series I'm really into, you know. But I'm definitely trying to keep up, but it's impossible. There's so much content.
I know.
I'm drowning.
Good content. It's
good stuff too. Yeah.
Such an amazing time for TV.
Amazing.
Like so many great series out there. Did you see this coming? This sort of golden age, they're calling it the golden age of television. Did you see this coming like years ago?
No, I don't think so. I mean, TV was suffering so much a few years ago.
There was like the reality TV doldrums, really,
yeah,
for so long.
I think everyone thought TV was on its way out, but we got 10 minutes right over there.
Yep.
Boom. Okay, he's going to play me out now. I can take out the violin. But yeah, it looked for a time like TV was going to die, and instead it's kind of been resurrected. Mostly, I think, because of these platforms now, these streaming platforms that have kind of given it new life and a new lease. And, you know, it's amazing what people are producing now. And so it's almost too much. It's almost too much, you know. But it's wonderful as an actor, because you'll have a lot of different opportunities. As a viewer, you know, diverse taste. But my God, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's literally called peak TV now.
Yeah.
That you cannot watch, if you're just breaking it down to primetime, original scripted programming, you just can't consume all of it. No. And unless you have multiple, I don't know, unless you're a Time Lord or something, I guess. But hi there.
Hi. Last year, my husband and I went to a different con in California where the actor who plays Wu told us that a local donut shop named a donut after him called the Dirty Woo.
Yeah.
So we were wondering if any local restaurant had named anything after you or your character.
Let me see. Well, all right. So yes, Reggie was, he eats a lot of donuts. Which is kind of ironic, I guess, for a cop, but he actually does eat a lot of. He's got a crazy sweet tooth. Like I'm worried for him.
Is it all voodoo donuts? Is that
no,
where
it's
he
like
gravitates toward?
anything sweet. He's like all over it. But he's anyway. So it's Pip's Donuts, and they created these mini donuts called the Dirty Woo. Anyway. But they're elaborate little things, and so yeah, and then Silas had a cocktail named after him, or Monroe had a cocktail named after him at this steakhouse. Here's how sad mine is: the local salad place has the Sasha. Because I'm there like twice a day, and it's so, and I don't think they even like really care to sell it, but they're like, well, we might as well because we make it so many times a day for this guy. So they're like, put it on the board. So I got some lonely little salad somewhere if you're interested.
I think you can do better.
Yeah.
The Mom Squad donut or something. I don't know.
The Mom Squad. I love it.
With the prime reef, or the Mom Squad prime beef or something, I guess. The shirtless Russian.
I am not.
We can make this happen right here. We're gonna workshop this.
Yeah.
You're like, please don't.
You had me at roast beef.
Hi there.
Hi, so I'm a big Battlestar and Caprica fan, and so I was just wondering, working on a show in a universe that's so complex, what was your favorite aspect of working on it,
I mean, I loved the world. I wasn't that well versed with Battlestar. I'd seen enough. I had friends on it, and it was the same showrunners, Ron Moore and David Icke, so there was that continuity. But it was, I loved the world. I thought it was so ingenious and interesting and something I could really relate to. The idea of all these cultures clashing and, you know, this world that's on the brink of calamity. And so I just really got lost in that world. They did such a great job making these intricacies, you know, and making such like layered character for me. Especially, I thought Sam Adama was such a fascinating character. I just interested in discovering more and more about him. So, yeah, it was just playing in that world, really playing in that world. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we go, actually, I mean, I know you can't really say much, but any kind of vague teases you can give us for the rest of the season?
Well, I mentioned the Zabra Beast, so that's pretty cool. And we'll see what happens with his candidacy. And then, there's his daughter, Diana, and she's going to play a very interesting and a very important role for the last few episodes. So there's that. And basically everything is going to be horrible, like really bad. So it'll be interesting to watch.
If everything was awesome, nobody would want to watch.
It's
like,
a great epic battles.
Yeah.
There's some major epic battles going on. Oh, there's one that I wish I could tell you. It's so good. It's so good. I have it on my iPhone. I have a piece of this fight on my iPhone, and after the episode airs, I promise to post it. It was so good.
And now they're all you've got like 100 people trying to mug you for your phone afterwards just to get that. So keep that close by. And also, plus I can't help but feel bad for the poor girl that posed in those pictures, like in season 1, because now you have an actual daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Poor
it's
girl.
True. I know. Well, there are 3 different girls, all equally confused.
Yeah. And then lastly, as far as the Grimster Endowment, people can still donate to that and still get involved, correct?
Yeah, you could still donate if you'd just like to donate, and that's very generous of you. But we're going to have another campaign like we did this year through Omaze. You guys know Omaze? They do a lot of cool stuff, right? And they're the ones who helped us do this whole online campaign. And we had a winner that was chosen at random, and they were flown to set, and they had their entire... they had a whole makeover. We turned her into a Hexen Beast, and she sat actually through the makeup, which I would never sit through, but she did for 2 or 3 hours, and it was amazing. And she got a tour of the set, and so that was one of the great prizes. So we'll do that again next year, and it'll be fantastic, I'm sure.
So fun opportunity with fun possibilities with it. So keep an eye out for that. Meanwhile, Emerald City Comic Con, you guys have been awesome, and please show your appreciation for this very cool gentleman. Give it up for Sasha. It's been a heck of a good time.
Thank you, Tom.
That was fun. Thank you.